All right, step number 5, construction. Like we said, we're trying to go from this raw piece of property here to this finished product that you're seeing right now.
You have to remember that contractor time, construction time is not real time, so just times it by 3.
Yep.
It's just amazing.
We started this project roughly about April timeframe. It didn't complete it till the following March. And here's why. First thing we had to do, of course, is grade the road. There was no road here. We had to make it where it was going to be accessible for us in the RV. Grade the spot for the RV to be parked, where we're going to have this building we're sitting at, which is a 40 by 42 foot all steel building, cement floors. It's actually a commercial grade building. And be able to have our home eventually over here on the other side of the property when we decide to build one. So here's the driveway coming in from the south where Carolyn's at. And what we've decided to do is we're going to have a big, like a half moon driveway coming on this side. And like Carolyn's showing you, it's going to go out down at the other end, probably about a good 100, 120 yards away. There's going to be 2 40-foot culverts, one up here and one down there for drainage. Eventually we're going to have our home right over here. That's where Carolyn wants to have our retirement place, right over.
I want to have it right over here, so it just the back patio is going to overlook all the beautiful trees back here. We're going to leave all those trees.
So right over here, we'll be pulling in the rig. Over here to our right, where Carolyn's at, is where we're going to have a 40 by 50 foot all metal building. It'll be on a slab about 6 inch thick with rebarb. It's going to have a 9 to 12 foot clear inside height, 2 garage doors, and then we're going to have a patio on the far end, which will look out towards Carolyn's lone pine tree out there.
That is my lone pine tree. He cannot cut it down. He can trim up the bottom, but he can't get rid of that tree because the girls and we have already decided we're going to buy those really big Christmas ornaments and put it on that pine tree during the Christmas.
And over here is where the driveway will come in from the north. So we can either come from either one, the north, the south, and pull into the parking area here, back it in. They're going to make sure and do a kind of a 3-point turning area here so I can get in and out or back in from either coming in from the north or the south in the driveway.
Now I'm really looking forward to when we're here, we can back the trailer into here, put the back deck down, and look at that beautiful view right back there. It's going to be so awesome.
Got all that done. They had to let it settle quite a bit because they moved a lot of dirt. They really did to level this up. And it had to settle, otherwise you put stuff here and you get cracks in your foundation. You have all kinds of problems. Finally, about July time frame, we told my contractor that, hey, we need to get home. We need to start this going. So we need to get electricity, we need to get the septic system in here, and we need to get water. So the contractor we had, he was actually, his main job he does is well digging. So he dug a well. It sat for 3 or 4 months, and for whatever reason it didn't work out. So we went to plan B. We have city water here, so we're able to tap into the city water. We have the county come out.
We tried the well because we really wanted to be independent. But
and we may do it again in the future, but we just had to move on because it would take more time. And there's other issues we had to work out. So we got the water put in by the county. Guys from Gibson County Water, they're here. They're digging a hole down to the water main on our side of the street. Put in a pipe, put a meter about back where his back tire is right there. So we should have water before too long. Next thing we had to do, we had to get power. We came out here July 4th weekend, tried to stay. And those of you who've been in Tennessee in the hot, humid summer,
oh my God, it was hot as Hades.
Our generator kept turning off. It was 90 to 95 degrees at night.
It was terrible.
So luckily I had a UPS battery pack. I hooked up the fan. Carol and I slept on top of the bed in as few pajamas as we could. Got through the night and headed to the casino where the campground was and stayed the next week and a half.
Yeah.
It was too damn fun.
I mean, it was not worth it. It really was not worth it staying up here.
No.
No.
So he finally got out here. They got the power ran for the temporary pole, got it all inspected, all completed. Then the next phase was getting the septic done. We had to determine how big it was. They came out, they did the inspection, determined what we needed. They've placed it where we wanted it, where it's going to be in between the RV pad and next to the office here. We're eventually going to have an office slash kitchenette slash safety shower area, and get that done. So that was finally completed. So the other thing we had to do, besides have a level spot, they put in gravel and graded it, we had to have a cover for the RV. So we had this 40-foot long by 20-foot wide, all metal roof structure put in, no wood at all. I didn't want to worry about any termites or wood beetles, anything we built here. It's all, so we had that built, and then finally we were able to come here and actually stay. We could hook up just as if we were in a campground.
We got water, we got electricity, we got septic, and we had a cover.
Yes, kept the heat down. It was just nice to sit out.
It helped a lot.
Helped a bunch. So then August, we started prepping to build the building here. I had been looking and researching and figured out what exact type of building I wanted. It's kind of similar to our in-laws. They have in Colorado. They actually have airplanes and other toys. But I wanted to have an all-metal building, cement floors, the mini area we were talking about, and a big patio, which we're sitting on the patio. So it's a 40 by 42 foot pad site, all cement flooring. We have 2/3 of it is under the roof. Well, it's all under the roof, but 2/3 of it's in the main part of the building, which is 42 foot long by 20 foot wide. Then out here, we're on this beautiful patio. You can't see the whole size of it, but it's 10 foot wide by 42 foot long, and it's part of the roof line, so it's covered. It's not a shed cover or just a separate roof. It's part of the building. These are metal girders these things are up on, so they're not going to go anywhere. In fact, this building is rated for sustained wind of 115 mile an hour in larger gusts, so it'll handle hurricanes and most storms. We may need to eventually get a tornado shelter, but for right now it's okay. And we got the church with a tornado shelter, so we're okay. It's not that far away. The contractors I want to mention who did the work, BJ Burks with Burks Construction. He's the one who's my general contractor who did the work and helped coordinate with me and all the people doing the work. He helped out along with my son-in-law when we were out of town. Right off the shower, this is the window, so we'll be at 6 foot.
We'll be at 6 foot then.
So we need to make sure we're on this side of the shower. The other was Reed's Metal. They're, I know they're regional here in the South. I'm pretty sure they're getting just about everywhere in the country. They were very good. We had to work with them and design the actual building I wanted. Took a couple meetings, reinforcements of what we wanted and how they could do it.
But they finally got it right.
They got it right.
They got it right.
Got a good building. The other is the Fisher Company. They're the people that actually built, subcontracted to Reed's and built the building after all the cement was done. And of course, the cement work was done by Holt & Sons, LLC. Those guys did a great job. Fantastic job. Can't talk enough good things about them. All my contractors have. And that's the key to the project. You got to get good people, you got to get along with them, and make sure they understand exactly what you want.
Just don't assume that they know.
Don't be afraid to say, no, that's not right. This is what I want. They may not agree with it, unless it's safety factor or a structural issue or engineering issue, you make them do it. Okay, that's what you want. It's your home base, it's what you need.
You're paying for it.
Yep. And they'll do it. But they, they're like anybody else. There's a way they may think it'd be better, but that's fine. Talk it out, figure out the best way to get things done, and that's what I suggest. All right, so the real work started in December, and the completion of the project was done about March. A lot of factors came into play. Number one, it was winter. You had weather, we had snow, we had freezing.
We had a lot of rain that year.
Yeah, a lot of rain, and of course we had COVID impacted our project too. But we finally got it done. So we'll go into detail how we did that. So we started installing all of the plumbing underneath where they're going to be pouring the slab. So BJ and his guys and me, we did all the work ourselves, putting in all the water lines coming in, the septic lines to go out, all the plumbing we needed for the restroom, the shower, the kitchenette, and all that. So that would work before they got here. So it was all ready and done. All right, good morning. So today is a big day. We've been working on the shop foundation, all the plumbing, getting all ready to go. And today we've got the actual building, all metal building being delivered. And he'll be here fairly soon. And we're gonna offload it over in an area over here and get ready for construction of it after we get the slab poured sometime this next week, and then get the guys scheduled to put it up. But we're really getting excited. All right, now that he's done delivering, I'm just gonna go ahead and video, take an inventory, because I just signed for a packing list and Really have no idea what's in here, what's not, so it's a good idea to always do that. All right, big day today. Getting the plumbing finished on the slab before they pour next week. Building materials have been delivered. Hopefully they'll start building this thing in a couple weeks. The next step, the guys came out and they did a heck of a job. They framed in the whole thing. Well, morning. Hopefully you can hear me over the bobcat back there, but it's mid-December. It was 26 degrees this morning, and they're trying, this is Wednesday, and they're trying to pour by Friday and finish off on Saturday. Ground's pretty hard being frozen. All right, now he's trying to make the clean cut break from the left side of where that bucket is where our patio is going to be, outside patio, and then the right side of the bucket where he's at, that starts the shop and office area. So they're trying to make an elevation where it's going to drain water going out that way and keep water from coming into the shop. They got all the forms poured and set, ready to go for the patio area there. That's area they're going to put in the rest of the cement area for the shop, and then of course have more forms for building to go in here. They got as far as they could today. There was a guy who was supposed to show up with termite spraying. He never showed, so it looks like they must be packing up to go for the day, and they'll probably be back in 2 days. But looks like we got all that done. Looks good. Okay, it's the following 2 days later. The guy came out and he applied all the termite, anti-termite stuff to the ground, about 170 gallons. Only needed 100, but he had extra, so that's kind of cool. Now it's 2 days later. We're trying to get the forms all completed and pour cement today and then finish off the cement tomorrow. All right, now they got the plastic sheeting down as a barrier. They're getting ready to put on the wire, it's not rebar, but wire mesh, real heavy gauge, to actually be inside the cement when they pour it, so it gives it a lot more stability. All right, one of the cool parts about this is, you know, we'll show you the look at the plans, but they have predetermined bolt patterns to put all of the main metal beams in, so that everything works like a big giant jigsaw puzzle. So they've actually got these pretty cool board diagram layouts for the different types of bolt patterns they need. And they've screwed them in, and they've put these down in here getting ready for the cement to pour. Then once it's cured, they remove these, they'll bring in the beams, put them on top, bolt them down, and it's ready to go. And these guys were pretty good. They came out and poured the first part in 1 day, smoothed it all down, tamped it all down. So that was pretty cool so far. They brought in the first truck, got the first area up over here done. Then they brought the second truck in, poured the what cement they could. Now they're framing in the last minute that back frame to fill in, and they should be done completely pouring here pretty soon. Pretty genius to watch. They're really good at what they do.
Did they spend the night in their car?
They actually, two of the guys, because they had, it was cold. I'll show you clips here. It was snowing. The ground was frozen in the morning, and it didn't get much above freezing during the day. Yeah. So they had to stay here well into the night, probably. I think they got done pouring everything by about 5 or 6. And of course, it's dark. So they got to stay out there. I turn on lights every so often. They have their own lights to help them out so they could run the big machine to smooth it out and tamp it down. And they finally stopped about midnight. And I told them, hey guys, you got to be back at 6 and you got to watch this stuff. They went ahead and camped out in their truck out here on our property. No big deal. Yeah. I got up in the morning, had coffee for them. Their guys brought them some hot breakfast, the rest of the crew. Yeah. And they got to it and finished pouring all the rest of it the next day. Well, this is the next morning. The guys poured, and then they worked on this slab here till about 12:30, 1:45 last night, trying to get set up because that temperature is cold, even though they had accelerant in it. And that 3,500 psi cement just took a long time. So they cut off about 1:45, and they're back here this morning at 6:30 getting at it. So we're going to try and get this area here done for the porch, get it poured, and be done earlier hopefully for those guys. But it's turned out really good. I'm really satisfied with what's going on. So I wanted to show you how that little lip worked out that they're making to install the building. It turned out pretty good. You can see here, this little 1x they put in here created this, I'll call it a little Z here, where they're gonna actually fabricate, where they're gonna put the building material up to here, and then it'll go up, and they'll be able to seal it. It'll keep anything from going in from the outside, and it's gonna work out pretty good. And that's all the way around the slab. So it looks good. Plus there's their bolt, turned out pretty good, the pattern. Everything's setting up pretty good, so it's looking really nice. All right, so they've been working pretty hard this morning. They got all the leveling done for the porch here, and wiring and rebar were needed, and we're just waiting for the cement truck to get here to fill that. Also out here, he's building me a mini, about a 6-foot mini skirt coming off the garage down to the ground, so I can drive my vehicles in and out of the garage doors down there. So that's the other thing they're doing. So we're just hurrying and waiting for the cement truck to get here, and they'll be ready to rock and roll. All right, so what he's doing now, he's actually cutting into the cement to create crack lines to make sure that if the cement moves, expands, or shrinks, it doesn't crack the foundation. It'll just kind of direct the expansion of cracking with those. He's gonna be putting a few of them in there. One of the things you need to remember is you're always going to have some place for them to clean out the cement out of the trucks, off the equipment and everything else. So I got them putting it in one of my ditches over here that kind of erodes on my north side, and it'll work out. I've kind of taken their cement over the last 3 truckloads and kind of lined the side, so it'll make it flow pretty good and actually kind of make it kind of nice where it won't go back in or flood or fill with sand. So always remember, think of where you want them to have that, dump that stuff, because they're going to have to do it, so think ahead. So they did a great job. I have no complaints. They did a fantastic job. And
They did a really good job.
Yep.
The concrete is really nice and smooth like I wanted it.
Yep.
It's really good.
One of the other things that we made sure we had talked about, Carol and I, based on what I've experienced in the past and what she needed for her creature feature, make it nice for her, is we had to determine where we want to have our doors, windows for lighting and circulation, and of course I have two big garage doors to bring equipment in and out, whatever I want to do. And we talked quite a bit about it. Her big thing she wanted with the windows were,
I wanted the ones that go around on the other side of the building up high, so when we are gone traveling, people just can't look in the windows. You know, just walk up and say, hey, what's in there? I wanted them up high enough that nobody could do that unless they got some type of ladder or something, and it brought in a lot of light into the shop also. And then we do have two smaller windows towards back here on the patio that we can look out on the rest of the property.
right. So what I did to meet Carolyn's needs, our property on the patio, we face the east here, and that's something you need to think about too. We learned from being in the hot Tennessee weather and other parts of the country.
Yeah.
Have your patio in the east. During the winter, it warms up, stays warm in the morning. It's kind of nice and toasty before the sun goes up over the roof. During the summer, it's critical. It's a little warm in the morning, but like right now, it's 10 o'clock. The sun's, we're half in the shadows here.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good 5 to 10 degrees cooler on this side because the rest of the day until sunset, there's no sun on here. It's nothing but shaded area. And we have good breeze, and it's 12, 13 foot high in here at the smallest area, so we have plenty of circulation. For the windows, like Carolyn mentioned, we wanted to have lighting, natural lighting, but we didn't want to put lighting in the roof. It caused nothing but problems, holes, leaks, and everything. So we wanted to have the roof line high. Security was a big deal, like Carolyn said. So what we did was we put on two sides of the building, 3 separate windows, 24-inch square, so a person couldn't come in and out well because they're double paned and slide half and half. So you can't call through 12-inch by 12-inch.
It would be difficult.
Very.
Unless you're a kid.
And the bottom of the seals are all 6 foot off the ground. Like Carol mentioned, you'd really have to be getting in there. We got neighbors across the street would see them. We've got we have cell lighting all around the building, so any motion that'll go off and scare them off. Solar lighting. And then our windows here in the front of the patio, they are actually 36-inch by 24-inch. And they're only 4.5 foot off the ground. So I can look out of my workbench area to see the forest back here. Carolyn can look out the kitchenette areas to see what's out here when she wants to. Then they both open up to let in the cross breeze. So that's what we did. And then the doors, we've got 2 on the patio area here. 1 over on the other side of the building in case we wanted to get in the garage. And then 2 very large garage doors I have. So the garage doors are roll-up insulated garage doors. They're 9 by 10 foot and a 12 by 10 foot, so I can move any of my equipment, trucks, tractors, or anything else in the future in and out. Plus it makes for great circulation for the whole building. All right, so the next step was them actually constructing the metal building. They had their subcontractor come out, Fisher and Company, and they're great guys. 2 guys mostly worked on the building. With one of the brothers showing up and helping out when he could when he wasn't doing sales calls. But it was interesting to watch.
And this is after Reed's Metal had already delivered everything. It was sitting out in the front of the property.
Right.
So everything was already here. They just had to put it together.
Yeah, big giant puzzle, building block. Literally, everything's numbered. It's got names for everything. It's pretty good to watch them do it, and they're good at it. They've been doing it a while. It was definitely.
It was a puzzle.
And it took them quite a while, roughly 4.5, 5 weeks. Because we had snow, we had freezing sleet, we had rainy days.
A lot of rain.
Their worst enemy is lightning and thunder, which we had, and rain, because it gets real slick when they're working on this stuff. So they had to work in between a lot of those.
That's dangerous with metal.
Extremely. So. And they're doing welding, so it's not a good idea. And you're standing around metal. I mean, lightning's hitting, you need to get the hell out of that area. And they did. They would just come back another day. But it's pretty amazing watching them lifting each one of these girders to put it into place. tying in the main frames to the other side. Well, I want to give you an update on how the building's going. Yesterday got all the structural steel up, all the beams, all the roof struts going across, and did a pretty good job. All right, so as you can see, they got all the beams all up, and they got all the roof, they call them purlins, is what they're telling me they call them. They're up, and today we're going to start finishing in the walls so we can start putting in doors and windows all the way in different areas here. It's quite interesting, and making sure they framed in the doors. There were some errors that were done, not intentionally, but by accident, by reads that we corrected on site. We all talked about what we needed and how we'd fix it, and the guys are great. If they needed more metal, Reeds delivered it at their cost, not mine, because it was a mistake they made. So everything that was done incorrectly, not on purpose, but on accident, they took care of, which is a great vendor. I'm really pleased with that. So it took them a while. During the same time frame, I'll kind of cover it in a clip here, we all got really sick in January. They got all the slab done, and the guys to install the metal building fabricating are here. It's going to take them probably a good week and a half to get this all put into there. So I'm inside the rig because it's kind of cold out there, and I got a terrible flu. So normally I'd be outside filming this, but I'm being smart and staying inside, taking my medicine. Carol ended up with pneumonia.
Yes.
We had a unknown virus they'd never seen. And not only did we have it, the construction workers had it.
They got sick too.
And
they've never seen it before.
Yeah. So that really slowed it down.
At that point in time.
Because there's a couple days that I couldn't even go out and help them. And there's days they didn't show up because they were literally home in bed with the same thing we had. And we really were kind of hunkered down for about 2 weeks to come out of the rig very much. So that slowed it down, besides the weather and all the other stuff, and missing parts that got taken care of. But the cool part was, and really dangerous part for them, besides the lightning and the thunder, was them putting the insulation on top of the main building before they put the roof on.
Yeah.
So you can imagine, here's a piece of insulation 48 feet long by 5 foot wide. And they had to roll them up and put them into place, get the metal roofing and drill them in, and not slip and fall or anything else. Well,
or the wind would come up.
Yeah, and it wasn't too bad. And then the wind came up in the afternoon. Oh my gosh, there was one time that 2 guys were holding it down, and one of the guys started to get lifted up from the wind on this piece of building, and luckily he didn't fall. It came back down.
He was very fortunate.
Kind of took a break for a little while. The wind finally subsided and they got back to work. But that was probably the most dangerous part they had that I saw. But they're smart about it. They knew what they could do and what they couldn't do. So it's been great. And that's how they completed it. So the garage doors, I had subcontract that out to another group. They came out and said they thought they had everything they needed. They didn't. They had improperly gotten information on what was there as far as the uprights to install them. So I have the guys who built the building come back out and install some beams they needed. Then they came back out and they didn't have the right motor based on how the height was, so they got another motor ordered. Then COVID kept them from getting some parts. They finally lifted the restrictions. The guys could come out here and work with hand sanitizers and their face masks. So they came out and they got it installed, and considering the guy did a great job, he was as frustrated as I was not having the right parts to do it the first time.
And it wasn't his fault.
No.
He couldn't get the parts.
No. So then they finally got it completed, and we're done. Then the last part of the project we were trying to get done was our office area inside the building, which is 30 foot long by 10 foot wide, and it was going to be about 10 foot clear inside. It was going to have air conditioning, heat, a kitchenette, a refrigerator, a laundry area, because Carolyn does quilts, so she's got to have an area to wash the cloth and stuff to get ready to go. We had
I do quilts out of t-shirts.
Yes.
Shirt quilts.
And pillowcases out of t-shirts.
Yes, I do.
And I do some other projects that I need to have a safety shower also, so we have a shower in there. And of course we have a restroom, toilet, for obvious reasons. And that was going to all be enclosed in that area. So literally, we'd already been down to Lowe's and had picked out all the stuff we needed, had the list, had the exact price and everything,
We did all the measurements. Yeah.
and COVID hit, officially. They shut everything down. It's been a great year and a half getting this done. Like Carolyn mentioned, be patient, keep on
I can't
it,
stress that enough.
but you'll be so glad when it's done. We're extremely happy.
Oh, gosh.
And hopefully the aerial pictures and what we've been showing you will show that. So hopefully all this information has been useful. We're not experts
No.
by any means. This is just from our life experiences and what we wanted to do and how we went about doing it. So everybody's is different. But hopefully this will help you give you some ideas on how to do it, what to do, when. Be patient. And if you like what we've done, by all means, we have other videos on all kinds of how-tos and motorcycle riding and
RVing stuff.
Yep,
And
all that good stuff.
We do a lot of different things.
Yep, and we have fun. We're trying to enjoy it and share it with you all. So if you like what we're doing, hit the subscribe button over here.
On that side.
Yep, and ring the bell so you can get updates when we start publishing more videos like we're going to start now that we're done with this
Yeah.
construction.
And just follow us.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as Carolyn always likes to say,
We'll take you there.